Shalom. First and foremost, somebody give all praises and the glory and honor to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, one called Kadash, the Heavenly Father, true name is Yahweh, and his only begotten Son, Bahashem, in the name of Hamashiach, Yahweh Shai. Those are their true names in the ancient Paleo Hebrew, the Lashkash to the tongue. And I say Rakatham to the elders and apostles, Wa'akim, Wa'akwa, and I say Shalom. And this is a sit-down lesson of the prophecy updates as of August the 15th, 2026, on this Saturday night. And this is from RT.com. And it had, this was updated August the 16th, 2026. It reads, it says, five shot, one unalive after a downtown Lexington shooting. A 4-year-old and a 14-year-old. And 2 adults were hospitalized after a gunfire at a Charles Mill Park in Lexington, Kentucky. Local police said. It says local police are investigating a shooting at Charles Park that unalived 1 person and injured 4 others in Lexington, Kentucky on Saturday evening. And a 4-year-old and 14-year-old and 2 adults were taken to the hospital with injuries that were non-considered life-threatening. The local police chief Lawrence Brothers said the person who was unalive was not immediately released, was not being identified. It says Kentucky governor announced the shooting for. It says the shooting. It says the shooting while speaking at a Democratic Party dinner at downtown hotel. The Lexington Police Department blocked off the several rows around the park, while state police officials also were at the scene. The Lexington Herald leader reported authorities have not released the information about the suspect or possible motive. Weathers said he did not believe there was an ongoing threat to the public. The shooting took place during a East End Day local community event held at the park. Tent remained at the scene as police investigated. One Lexington director, Devin Carmelo, who said that at the event, described the shooting as devastating. Local reporter in a Facebook post, Carmelo said has been sheltering for the 4 young people when a person nearby was shot. A gunfire at a peaceful event in a broad daylight with women and children present is unacceptable, Carmelo has said. It's the book of Matthew, the 24th chapter. I'm going to start at verse 3. Excuse me. It's the book of Matthew, chapter 24, verse 3. And as he sat down upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came in private, saying, "Tell us, when should these things be? When should the sign are coming into the world?" Matthew 24 and verse 4. And Yahushua answered and said unto them, "Take heed that no man deceive you." Matthew 24 and verse 6. For many shall come in my name, saying, I'm Hamashiach, Yahushua shall deceive many. So go down a couple of verses. Matthew 24 and verse 12 reads, "And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many was cold." Right, so we start to see this as an everyday current, especially around the summertime. Missing a lot of incidents been occurring. Heavy judgments been taking place over here in the Persian of Babylon. So we're definitely seeing the love of many wax and cold. And this is the book of Genesis 6 and verse 5 reads. It's Genesis 6 and verse 5. It says, "And Yahweh saw that wickedness of man was great on the earth, that in the imagination of thoughts his heart was on a continue." It was on a continue. This is the book of Ecclesiasticus. This is the book. It's the book of Ecclesiasticus 3 and verse 1. To everything there is a season and a time of every person heaven. Right, so we have these modern day times and seasons in every person heaven, which is modern day biblical times and the science of times. Go down a couple of verses. Ecclesiasticus 10 verse 7. It says, "In time to reign, and in time to sow, in time to decide, in time to speak." Right, so we're in time of speaking of biblical prophecies that we see in our world today. Ecclesiasticus 3 verse 8. It says, "In a time to love, and a time of HATE, and a time of war, time of peace." Right, so we see in the time of HATE, lawlessness, iniquity is abounding, and we still live in time of war. So these war, evil, and the pestilence that we see in our world today, like it says in Jeremiah 28 verse 8. So as it says again, this took place in downtown Lexington, Kentucky. There was some type of park event that took place in Lexington County, Lexington, Kentucky, the downtown area. It says 5 shot, 1 alive after a downtown shooting in Lexington shooting. This is the book of Ecclesiasticus. It's the book of Ecclesiasticus 39 and verse 28. It says that we experienced are created for vengeance. Within their fury they also scorch and pour off the peace of wrath him that madeth. Right? Which is by the heavenly Father. You know, he's a righteous man his power. Isaiah 45 verse 7. Ecclesiastes 4 verse 14. All right, check out some more news articles. It says Saudi Arabia launches a maritime coalition and many escalations in Yemen. Right, so maritime coalition, which is all the nations that's allies with Saudi Arabia, help them sail through the over there in the Mediterranean Sea, I believe, so they can sail through that safe. So you still have the Houthi rebels been targeting Saudi Arabia oil tanks and sailing through over there in the Mediterranean Sea. It says South Korea proposed a dialogue to end the war with North Korea. I don't think North Korea gonna accept that, because I think North Korea, South Korea, Texas are still gonna be there. And this is the book of because after that military exercise drill that the United States and South Korea is gonna do, I don't think North Korea is too happy about that. So that lets you know Texas are only gonna stir up between North Korea and South Korea. This is 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 verse 3. It says, "For when they shall say peace and safety, such crush come upon them as a children shall not escape." Right, because we're still going to see wars and rumors of wars, nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom. Now, of course, there's going to be times where the nations trying to be at peace with one another, but it's going to heat back up once again. You know, they're going all back and forth. You know, everything's a balance now, but definitely North Korea is still going to stir up tensions between South Korea and Japan and the United States. Despite the fact South Korea is trying to propose a dialogue to end the war, so North Korea most likely is going to reject that. They're going to continue to stir up the war. Let's check out some more news articles. It says Yemen hunts by fears of a return to an all-out war. It says renewed Houthis attacks provide memories of a war that displayed millions. Residents fear fresh fighting could destroy their homes and livelihoods in the future. Right, because we're seeing signs of that. It says, wars and rumors of wars. Like it says in Matthew 24th chapter, verse 6. It says, because tensions has been rising between Saudi Arabia and their coalition forces of Yemen versus the Houthi rebels, as tensions have been heating up over there. I think Yemen did another strike against the Yemenis governor armies, I believe, in Saudi Arabia once again. It says Iran war stretches U.S. Navy as it last aircraft carrier leaves Asia. Yeah, another sign of wars and rumors of wars. It says a drone strike in western Libya torches a powerful substantial triggers an outage. Right, I think that's like a drone strike for the fourth time within the last week and a half or so. It says Yemen military vows a tough response after a Houthi missile attack on Makla. Yeah, I just mentioned that. Yeah. It says Morocco arrests 111 migrants headed for Spain in a security crackdown. It says 5 dead in a Turkish wedding party bus crash. It says Hezbollah says that Israeli attacks will be met with appropriate response. Right, so despite the fact they've been having progress with the peace plan deal between the Hezbollah and the Israel Defense Force, but in the meantime, you still got the Israel Defense Force using airstrikes in those factory facilities over there in Yemen. Over there in Lebanon. So you do have Hezbollah, despite the fact they're supposed to disarm themselves, but at the same time, they do have a right to defend themselves, just like the Israelis have a right to defend themselves. Hezbollah and the pro-Iranian groups, they have a right to defend themselves as well too. But you got the Israelis blaming everything on Hezbollah, violating ceasefire and all that, but they doing the same thing as well too. Unaliving innocent men, women, and children. What's that? Isaiah 10 verse 1. That's what's called unrighteous creed. It says the Israeli airstrike on southern Lebanon unalived 11 people. The health ministry has said, got wars and rumors of wars. It says the United Arab Emirates state oil company says the vessel attacked in a Hormuz Strait. It's the book of Jeremiah, chapter 28, verse 8. It says the prophets that had before thee and before thee of old prophesied both against great countries and great kingdoms of war, evil, and pestilence. Right? That's what we say, war, evil, and pestilence that's taking place in our world today. Especially these wars are increasing, these evils increasing, and the pestilence as well too. Matthew 24 and verse 6. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. Right, we're seeing we're seeing the tensions are heating up over there in the Mediterranean Sea between Saudi Arabia and the Houthi rebels. We're seeing the Russian-Ukraine situation that's intensifying. And we're still seeing North Korea versus South Korea, Japan, and the United States. Despite the fact South Korea is trying to push forth a dialogue to potentially end the war of the tension between North Korea and South Korea. Most likely, North Korea is not going to agree to that. They automatically reject it. And that's going to stir up more tensions. It says, we share wars and rumors of wars. Right? Pakistan versus Afghanistan. Russia versus Ukraine. The European Union, NATO versus Russia and Belarus. And then with the recent tensions heating up between NATO and Russia. It says, you shall hear wars and rumors of wars, right on and on, back and forth, wars and rumors of wars between the armies of the nations. It says, see that you be not troubled, for all these things must first come to pass, but it is not yet. Right, so it's going to come to pass, but it's not going to end chatting. But in the meantime, we're going to be hearing increasing uptick of wars and rumors of wars that Yahushua spoke about. Matthew 24 in verse 7. It says, for nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. It says, which goes to Ephesus, there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. Right, because I think you had like another 6.9 earthquake over there in Indonesia, because it was that day before yesterday. We had that 7.7 earthquake over there in Indonesia. They had like 5 aftershocks of earthquakes. And then a day later, they had a 6.9 earthquake over there. And I think Spain, I forgot the area over there in Spain, they had like a 5.2 earthquake over there in Spain. So that we're starting to see these earthquakes in diverse places at an alarming rate. You see the famines are increasing. And then you had a 6.1 earthquake over there in Bento Island. So that's an indicator that the Heavenly Father, only begotten Son, Yahushua spoke about, that was going to be an uptick of earthquakes in diverse places. So the heavy famines, pestilence, earthquakes in diverse places, nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom, and wars and rumors of wars are going to continue to increase. It's going to intensify on a day-to-day basis. So this is just a quick prophecy update as of this is a quick prophecy update as of August 15th, 2026 on this Saturday night. So hopefully this is edifying. And with that, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem HaKadosh, and Barakatham to the elders and apostles. Well, I gave my aqua to next time. I would say Shalom.